Hey there, welcome to this video and welcome to the first video of a series of videos I'm doing on my channel here where I am going to focus in on AI agents and e-commerce. Now, I have several ecom stores currently, both that I've started from scratch brand new. I have drop shipping stores, I have my own brand on one store, and I've also acquired ecom stores as well over the last few years. And one thing I've done with all of them, certainly over the past 6 months, is I've built AI agents to automate almost 70-80% of everything I do on those stores. Now, this has allowed me to drive more traffic to all of these stores. It's allowed me to improve and increase conversions, but it's also generated more revenue across all of these stores, and they're being run in many ways with AI agents. Now, that is really exciting, and there's a lot going on there. It's not just one agent that runs the whole thing. I have several different agents, all tasked on doing different things as part of my ecom setup. Most of my stores are built on Shopify, so a lot of the AI agents you're going to see over the next few weeks are going to be interlinked with Shopify. But that's not to say these will not work with other ecom platforms. So if you are using something else like WooCommerce, for example, you could still replicate what I'm doing with these agents. You're just going to have to change some of the inputs and outputs. If you're interested to see how AI can help run and operate an ecom business, you will want to subscribe to my channel and make sure you don't miss one of these videos. Hit subscribe, hit like on this video and the future videos if you get value from them. I really appreciate it. And of course, if you've got any questions, fire those in the comments. So let's get going. We're going to start right here with my product description AI agent. Now, this was the first AI agent I actually built as part of my ecom businesses. I wanted to improve my product descriptions. I also acquired a drop shipping store which had absolutely terrible descriptions, basically copy and pasted from supplier websites. I wanted to upgrade that store right away with great, well-written descriptions of the products I was selling, just to improve the SEO footprint of the site as well. It was hardly ranking because the descriptions were so terrible. And that's why I built this AI agent initially. So what this AI agent basically does, it's actually made up of 3 individual agents as part of this workflow, is I feed it product data via a Google Sheet, and I'll go through all of these nodes individually in a moment. So I feed it some product data. We then feed it to this image description AI agent here. Now, this is a really cool part and really unique when it comes to AI. So when I imagine using AI, I always think of myself and think, if I'm going to write a product description here, how would I do it? Well, I would be looking at the image, wouldn't I? I wouldn't just take a description off a website and rewrite a description in my own unique way. I'd want to look at the actual image of the product. So an AI agent shouldn't be any different. So the first thing I do is I feed the actual product image into this AI agent that analyzes that image and actually writes a really, really nice description of the product based off of the image alone. Once I've got that, I merge all the data here. We push this into my actual product description writer. I'm going to go through all of this in a moment in detail. This product description writer then takes all the product details. It takes a competitor website URL, so a competitor that's already ranking, say, number 1, 2, or 3 on Google. So it looks at that content, and it also looks at or gets the output from this image description. So it also has a mass description or a big description of the actual product based off of the actual image. This product description writer then writes out a full product description based off of a structure I've put in place for this. I'll go through that structure in a moment. So once the product description has been written, you've got a wall of text. So that wall of text is then pushed into this AI agent here, my HTML editor. So I've pre-written or pre-created a structure for this HTML editor to follow. I'll show you that when we dive into this node in detail. And it turns that wall of text into nicely formatted HTML that can be copy-pasted right into Shopify. And then this final node is I gather all the details and I populate another Google Sheet with all of that data, all of the product description, the HTML description, so I can mass upload that then into Shopify. So I could, write 100, 200, 300 product descriptions and then upload them all, update them all on my site in one click. Now, you can download the workflow I'm showing you today inside of our free AI automation community that you can see on screen here, beta state. Now, below this video, you'll see a link. Click that link. It'll bring you through to this community, free to join. Once you've joined this community, down on this left-hand side in the workflow drop section, you will see a link to this particular workflow so you can download it and upload it to your own NAN account. You will need an NAN account for this workflow to work for you, to import it. And again, you can sign up for free below. I think you get a 14-day free trial. Just click the link below this video, sign up for this for an NAN account, and you can literally just import exactly what you see on screen here with all the prompts, everything. So if you just want to cut the time, you're not interested in seeing the build, and you just want to see this in your own NAN account, you can do that right now. But I'm going to jump into all these individual nodes and show you what they do. So the first thing we need as part of any workflow, any AI automation, is a trigger. So the trigger we use in this particular workflow is a Google Sheet row added trigger. So basically, every minute, this particular node, when this is live, checks my Google Sheet that I've already connected here, and any new rows that are added or any new rows that appear, it will pull through that data. Now, the Google Sheet looks just like this. Now, what I've got here is just a random example of a supplier provided data drop. So if you are drop shipping, again, you'll know if you're a drop shipper, you'll know this is how it usually works. Suppliers provide you with details of the products you can sell. So that's all this is here. So we've got a random product here where you get like the SKU, barcodes, the delivery times. In this particular case, we've got some features of the product. We've got a supplier provided description here. Now, this is what I mentioned at the beginning of the video. Most drop shippers out there, I mean, I acquired a store, like I say, a while ago that had all of these particular descriptions just copy pasted onto the website. So that was one of the reasons why I wanted to build this AI automation. I wanted to make something better, write better descriptions, but to try and do that with hundreds and hundreds of products would take you months and months. That's why we've got AI. So that's a supplier provided description. So we keep that. We keep all the details here. So we've got sort of specs of the product. Now, the two things that I actually add to this are at the end here, where we've got image and website. So I grab a website URL for the product, if there is one, off the top of Google. So it can be any of the top products, whichever one you want. Grab a website URL because they're already ranking up there for the product. So probably a good indication of what type of content Google's looking for there. I know that's not everything, but it's a really good, again, example of what you should be creating. So we get a website URL, and then I also grab a website image as well. So that's just a link, a direct link to the image of the product as well. So that's the data I've got in here. Now, when you set this up, depending on how you want to do it, you can have any pieces of data in here that you want, but the more data you can provide an AI agent when it comes to writing content, the better your content's going to be. So this is what this trigger is. Now, I've already pinned some data here, and just a bit of a tip, if you're brand new to NAN, if you've got a trigger and you grab some data you're going to work with when you build out your flow, you want to just pin it by, again, clicking this little pin button here, so it doesn't have to keep running the trigger to try and find new data, which just takes a lot of time. You just pin it there and you can work with that data as you go through this flow. So, first things first, all the data goes into the merge here. So again, simple, all this data is just going to be thrown in here. But we also have this other track that comes off here, and this is our image description AI agent. Now, this particular AI agent here is going to write me a description of the product based off of the image. So the way this works, before I show you the prompt actually, I just want to show you the chat model I'm using here. So if we just come back out here, so this area here that you connect to your AI agent, so the chat model, I always, or the LLM if you will, I always use OpenRouter for this. A bit of a tip, because OpenRouter, once you've got an OpenRouter account, you just need an API key, easy to set up. You can use any model you want from all the main LLM companies out there, anything you want to use. So you can test different models. I'm just using OpenAI GPT-4 here. So we've got this image description. We're going to open the prompt. Very simple prompt. Take a look at this image. So we've pulled the image in here from down here. Take a look at this image of a garden product. So I am explaining what the product is. The product is called, and I've just pulled the product title in here, provide a really detailed description of the product in the image. Please follow this format: structure, use case, design, unique features. That's basically the prompt I'm using. So if we execute this now, it's going to take a couple of seconds as it pushes this to this AI agent or the LLM GPT-4. And we're now going to get an output, or we should get an output, of this image fully described. There we go. That's how quick it was. So as you can see, we've got our structure, the Anastasia Arbor sits 2. is a solidly built freestanding wooden structure featuring smooth round edges, premium finish. Use case we've got in there. What else have we got? We've got the design. The design merges functionality with aesthetics effectively. Constructed with finely grained wood, reflects a natural. You can now. This is why I do this part, because now I've got a really compelling description of the actual product that is going to improve my output from a product description. So that's why we have this here. So again, I've got now a full description of the image. Now that's then going to merge in here. So if I now execute this step, there we go, it's merged both items. So it's got all of the data from the product, but it's also got my output as well down at the bottom here, is now going to be in here. So if we go in the schema, we can see this is the output from that image description, and I've got all this other data here. Now this is going to be ready now to push into my product description writer. So the product description writer here is the next step. Now again, we connect the chat model to OpenRouter so we can use different models to test different outputs. But all we're basically doing here is pushing all of this data now into this model and basically asking for our product description. So this is the main part of the actual flow. So let's look at the prompt here. Now, the prompt in general, I'm going to run through because there are certain elements you're probably going to want to change for your particular use case. And again, things I've edited here just for this example. So the first thing is we have a role. So you're a highly skilled, experienced Ecom product description writer, pretty simple. Now, here's one thing you might need to change, which I've just done for this case. I'm in the UK, so I have Ecom stores based off of the UK market. So again, I make sure I mention this throughout my prompt here, if that's what I'm creating product descriptions for. So you are writing a product description for the following products. We've got our title. Your task is to take the following information, so product name and title, supplier product description, so that's the description the supplier's provided, the description on a competitor website, so I've got a website URL, a detailed description of what the product looks like, so that's our image description. Now, if you are new to NAN, these green things here are me just pulling these in from this side. So if I just show you a quick example here, so the product description from the supplier is this here. You can just drag this over and drop that in there. That's how that works. So it's really easy to build out your prompt here. And this is the result. So you can see on this side what it's actually going to be fed into the LLM. So we've got the output from the image description. Then I've got some dimensions here. Again, depending on what you're doing, you might not need this section. Then we have the main product description, and I want 3 paragraphs. So an overview, what is it? Main benefits, primary use case, construction and quality, practicality. We've got the features listed here as well, which are quite small in this particular example. Focus on solving customer problems. Examples. Now this is important. I've just written this for this particular example I'm showing you here because this is a garden product. But you want to just give it some examples of how you would want these things written. So extends life and reduces maintenance with pressure treated timber, ensures maximum quality being handmade in the UK, maximizes durability with sustainably sourced FSC timber. So I'm just creating a few of these to give it some guidance on how it can create compelling bullet points, and again, how it should write this particular product description. So you're going to need to change that depending on what your products are. And then lastly, close out with a section on who is this product perfect for and why. Output, this is important. Please output the fully written product description only with formatting where necessary. Your output will be passed to our HTML designer. The reason I do that is if you just you don't specify that, it can output it with headings and things like that just don't make sense. And then that can then be pushed into the final HTML. So you then have to go through and edit it. And that's obviously, we're not going to want to do that. So I just make that really, really clear. Context, so I explain what our company is. Again, you're going to have to change this. I've written this for this particular example, but you're going to have to change this to whatever your ecom store is. And then finally, as I mentioned before, we're a UK-based website, so it needs to be aimed at UK website visitors. And that's it. That's our prompt. It's quite detailed. Lots and lots of detail in here when you add in all of the different inputs, as you can see. It's quite long, but this is going to produce our unique product description. So if I execute this step now, so here's the output from the LLM here. There we go. You can see it fuller on the table there. So it's written the full product description. It's followed everything I want. Again, it's just providing the text so I can fire this straight into our HTML editor agent. But again, I'm not going to read it all because it'd be quite a boring video reading through one of these product descriptions. But as you can see, it's picked out things like the pressure treated FSC certified timber not only ensures a construction that can resist rot for up to 2 decades, but also offers a beautifully rustic finish. Really, really nicely written description there that's going to be far better than any supplier provided description, and it's based off of some really important elements such as the image and even a competitor website. So we've now got that written description. We can now pass this into our HTML editor that's going to edit this up for HTML. So the HTML editor is quite a simple prompt, but it's quite structured in the way I output this, and you might need to change this based off of your own Shopify or Ecom site. So it's got a very simple task. So the role, you're a skilled HTML designer, specifically skilled at product description pages. And the task is just simply take this product description here, so we've got the output, and turn it into a HTML ready page. Now, what's important here is we have a HTML structure to use. So I don't just give it a product description and go turn that into HTML, because it will then come up with its own sections, its own styling, and that might not fit what your ecom store is. What I like to do is get an example HTML from my store that I like, and I want it to follow that exact same structure. And that's what I've got here. So I've just copy and pasted an entire structure of one it's done earlier and said follow this same structure for this particular product description. And it keeps it all very uniformed, especially if you're creating hundreds of these. Now the notes at the bottom, again, follow the exact structure. Keep all HTML on one line. Now the reason that's in there is because if you don't specify that, it will output it on multiple lines, which is what HTML is. And then when you then import that or append that to a Google Sheet, which we do last, it breaks the Google Sheet. So I want it all on one line. Do not use the term HTML or any backticks as part of it as well, because again, if you don't specify that, it will sometimes lead with backticks and the term HTML, and that then breaks Shopify. So what you want here is something you can copy and paste right into your Shopify page without having to mess around, again, editing that out, or again, the whole automation is kind of pointless. So that's what we've got here. So once we execute that step, as you can see here, we get this output. So you can immediately see it starts from HTML and it ends in that div there. It's all on one line. It's taken my product description and it's turned it using my structure into full HTML ready code. Now, the last thing we do as part of this workflow is we append that row to a Google Sheet. So I have a separate Google Sheet here, which is what I call my product feed. Now, the reason I have this is because I will produce hundreds of product descriptions, and then I will upload these and edit my site in bulk in one go. So I'm not just creating a product description, copy and pasting that into Shopify. I create these CSVs and then bulk upload them. So how this works is, again, I'll just execute this step. I'm just appending all of the points here. So we've got SKUs, titles, and I'm just grabbing these from going back here to the merge, pulling the SKU in, the product title, the prices, RRP, all of this stuff, the vendor I've typed in. There's some bits I've got missing down here, but again, you would fill all these out based off of your site. And then what happens is, again, I've just executed that step. It's put it in this here, so I'm going to have to just quickly resize this so you can see it. But there we go. So there we go. We've got a number 3 in here. You can see I've run some tests already. We've got our SKU, we've got product title, we've got the prices, stock, and the wooden manufacturer, just example vendor. Now here's our HTML description, and again, it's all on one line. If you don't specify that, it's going to break this sheet and it will add it all the way down. And then we've got our product description in here as a text as well. But what I'm then doing is I'm populating this Google Sheet with product descriptions, one after the other, and now I can go through, add more. I mean, I could add 100 lines to this Google Sheet, and it's going to run it on all 100 rows, and it's going to populate them all at the end, so we can bulk upload and edit product descriptions. So there you go. That's my product description AI agent that I've used to rewrite and create well over 1,000 different product descriptions across multiple ecom stores of mine from start to finish. And again, you can download this for free inside our community. Just join below in the description. And just to finish off here, I am going to grab the HTML. So I'm just going to grab that output here. Let me just copy paste that. And then head over to Shopify, and I've got a little test product here. We're on the HTML editor here. I'm just going to paste that in, click on show editor, and there we go. We have a nicely formatted HTML product description that's been completely created with AI, studying images, studying URLs of competing sites on the top page of Google, and it's done it all in a matter of seconds. Far quicker than I could do it, but it would be far better written than I probably would as well. And now I can run that on, like I say, hundreds and hundreds of products. So now you can do the same. This is how I create product descriptions using an AI agent. This is the first part of my Ecom AI series here. In the next few videos, I'm going to be digging into lots of other things I'm doing on my Shopify Ecom stores with AI to help me operate them. Like I said at the beginning of the video, 70-80% of my Ecom stores are now being run by AI, and I'm going to document every single one of them in this series. So don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit like on the video if you've got something out of this. And of course, if you've got any questions, fire those in the comments and I'm here to help. But I'll see you in the next video.